So first things first, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm not too bad at all. Not too bad, thank you. So where I want to start with the new Visions of Atlantis album is it feels like with Pirates One, something was started where some changes were made and something was started that was different than all that time before. Uh, for you now, looking back on that album, Pirates One, what were the feelings? What were the vibes around that album?
Um, we have the feeling that we were finally finding ourselves as a band in the way we would present ourselves, in the way of our sound, and musically speaking. Like it was the first album where Michele was the most involved compared to Wanderers before. And we started to feel like there's a shift in what Visions of Atlantis is about with that record. And it was a statement also that we needed to make for ourselves, for our audience, for the world of symphonic metal. That's why we came out with this concept as pirates and make it very clear this is the direction that we would take visually speaking.
Hmm.
And yeah, these are the origins the of a massive step that happened for the band.
Yeah, and what I find interesting, well, you mentioned a couple of things. Let's get into Michelle and your songwriting first. And then I want to talk a little bit about how Felix helped with the whole process as well. But first of all, between the two of you, because from what I can gather, Michelle writes most of the music, you write most of the lyrics. What um, what does that synergy look like? Why does it work for you two?
Because I think we love a lot of similar music. Even if when we grew up into metal, we didn't always listen to the same thing. It complements each other. Like we've had so many journeys on the car to reach to Austria where we would be like playing
Hmm.
our favorite records to each other, and we would both find something in the taste of the other. And then when we write or co-write or just work on collaborate on a song together, I think we understand the essence of the music that is under our eyes and ears, and and we end up sharing the same visual image of what this song is about or what we want to explore as a feeling. And therefore, it's like we both enter the same room
Hmm.
and we start to decorate it in a way that we both like. And that's the key. It's not like when I arrive, I want to completely take it to my world, to my own room, and not caring what it came
Hmm.
from. Or it's not like that his room is completely closed and wouldn't let anyone in. It's a porous world from the two. It's a porous thing from the two of us where creativity is flowing very easily, and we love to explore it.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. Is there one album that you can remember that either you showed to Michelle or Michelle showed to you on one of those car trips that now you can't even believe that you never listened to that album or
Um, Well, for instance, he loves Dark Passion Play from Nightwish, and I remember that I was still very angry at the band when it came out, and I didn't listen to it because of the change of singer. I
sure.
was very attached to the sound of Taria. So back then, I was way younger. I was like, I don't want to listen to that record. And time flies and you forget about stuff. And I did love Imaginarium, for instance.
Hmm.
So, and but then I don't know, somehow I just forgot to listen to that record, and he introduced it to me a couple not so long ago, I think last year or something. I was like, this is such a rock album. It's so rock and roll. There's not that much of the orchestra. It was crazy to discover that. So yeah, we have some things like this that happen. Yeah.
Oh,
You
very
can't listen
cool.
to everything. You cannot have listened to
No,
everything.
that's true.
He educated me a lot on a very early power metal, like the early gamma rays, the early blind guardians, and discovered that it's I understand the style where it comes from. It doesn't hit all my sensitive strings, but it explains his own influence in power metal. Yeah.
Sure. And even then, kind of leading up to Pirates too, then because you also toured a lot, you've played all kinds of festivals. You've been to America, to South America. You play with Dragon Force, just mentioning a power band, a power metal band. What did you take away from the last 2 years of kind of, because it felt, again, it felt like everything was going well for the band, touring was good. What did you take away from that whole kind of cycle or circus into Pirates too?
We grew a lot in our musicianship, you know,
Okay.
we played over 80 shows and per year, and we felt like this made us way more solid as a live band, and that was something I was longing for to feel with
Mm,
Visions of Atlantis. Also, we started to know each other in the band personally so well that we decided we could embrace everyone's personality in its dark, in this, from its darkness to its light, and it feels like a second family, you know, when you've spent
mm,
so much time in close places spaces and you have to deal with those people because they're your bandmates, and you cannot just decide to leave the room or the bus or the tour
sure.
when their tensions are rising, because it's normal, the human world. um uh you learn a way to deal with that. As much as sometimes you're like, okay, that's my family, I don't go along with everybody, but I still want to make it work because it's worth it. You learn how to deal with the people that maybe from the heart wouldn't be your best friends, and you know,
Sure.
and with the band we have this feeling that sometimes we feel like we're very close friends, and sometimes we just argue like brothers and sisters, and this connection and the fact that we started to know each other musically also very well really helped me writing songs that fit us very well as a band. And some songs on Pirates 2 are a little trickier than ever, because they're faster, because they're darker and more riffing
Mm,
than what we ever wrote before. So it's been a bit of a challenge for our drummer, for our bass player, but we also left room for Dushi to put his identity in the solos and rewrite, knowing their strength and limits, and that that just tightened us. Anything that we've been through has made us tighter as a group of individuals.
that's very cool to hear. And I think then the next piece of the puzzle then is Felix, because he kind of oversaw the entire album as the producer. I've been lucky to talk with him about Dominum. He has his own band
Yeah,
as
of
well.
course.
So, what was it about working with him and kind of his type? Because he has a very energetic style of power metal as well. So what was it about working with him kind of that helped lift Pirates 2 to where it is now?
So he did a fantastic job on Pirates One, and therefore when we, you know, we regretted nothing about Pirates One when we did it, you know, and we thought we found the people that understand our music, our universe, how we want to write things. He respects the essence of what we're doing. He just gives it gives it the 10, 15, 20% of an extra glitch that makes it just reach the next level. And when it was about starting producing Pirates 2, we're like, just let's keep the same team because it just worked. Like, our album was a good album and people loved it. The people who got to know Visions of Atlantis and discovered Pirates, most of them they connect to it. Of course, if you're expecting thrash metal with us, no. But if like the people who, yeah, we had a very nice feedback from our
Mm.
crowd with that record, and we felt very at peace and confident with the team. So we are like, let's use the same, like use let's gather the same people for Pirates 2, and therefore Felix, like, it was just, let's do it again, the same thing,
Mm.
except that this time he didn't write a song for the album. Like, he wrote there's a song, this bonus track called Stormy Waters that he wrote very, very early on, even before we were done with completely with the first cycle of Pirates,
Mm.
because he was like, you know, I want to write this. I have this coming up, and I thought maybe this would fit Visions of Atlantis, and he's been writing for Pirates, so why not? but then Meek wrote so much and so good songs that we thought, you know what, let's make Pirates 2 the first record in decades that can be told and presented as a real Visions of Atlantis album. This music comes from us, from the band,
Mm.
and Felix has been there to help refine ideas, transitions, chords sometimes, or melodies. But he did respect the music and the integrity of our music, and because he loves it too. He really
Mm.
likes what we're doing, and it inspires him, and we love his pop touch that we rely on to make sure every melody is on point, you know. And we also love his roots in power metal, because he, before Domino, also had another band when he was younger. So he's always been like having the two sides, like the pop guy and in his approach to music, but with a
Mm.
very heavy background as well. So we can speak both things, and he can enhance both in our records, the dark and the light.
Mm. That makes a lot of sense now, now that you say that. Let's dive into the album a little bit deeper, because what I like is, well, you've as a band embraced the pirate theme in a sense, but there's a lot of how should I phrase this? I mean, the pirate lifestyle, let's put it that way, the kind of the braving the seas and then all of that. I can also hear a lot of kind of modern thoughts and ideas on the album that kind of through those tales of pirates can be told in a sense. How much of these lyrics is you, and how much is kind of that fantasy world?
Oh, so um, to make it very easy, I use the entire piracy world, ocean related things, vocabulary as an enormous metaphor,
Mm.
since forever I write for Visions of Atlantis, for self exploration. Let's say the
Mm.
freedom I talk about that pirates chase, or the land that is for the land of the free. You know, this is something I invite listeners to find within themselves. And you of course can read those lyrics and those songs, the first layer, as what it is. Some songs are very straightforward, what a pirate could say.
Sure.
but but if you dive into, if you decide to read it again and replace all the fights and the enemies and all by just unveiling and uncovering what is in the way of your own freedom, then
Mm.
you'll find a deeper meaning, definitely, because this is where I write from. I write from the depths of my human experience, and I want to, like, expose my own truth in the way I wish people can relate to it, and that it could help other people. So yeah, there's a big fantasy world around the core of our message, um, but it deep inside is just talking about being a human on this planet, basically.
Mm. One song that really stuck out for some reason was "Where the Sky and Oceans Blend." For you, where did that idea or that kind of vision, because the album is very cinematic, where did that come from?
So I knew very, like, at some point, like, this was one of the last lyrics I wrote for the album, and I knew it was going to be the closure track.
Okay.
And as much as none of our records are concept albums, there, for me, in order to just write a complete piece of an album, I need to I need to find a start and a finish of what I want to say. And so there is a very clear threads between all the songs for me, in the voyage, and in the adventures that the listener would go through, or that our characters are going through. And where the sky and ocean blend is actually, okay, will I ever be free? at the beginning of the album, I chase the land of the free. I drink rum for it. I'm fighting for it. This is my aspiration. And then you go through the highs and downs of being a human being. You go through mourning with ashes to the sea. You go through remorse and regrets with dead of the sea, when you realize your dark side is hurting other people and you're responsible for it. And then those dark side, you have to fight it in monsters and all of that. And in the end, it's a remaining question. It's not a conclusion. It's like, I feel like this journey is just started. It's not ending. As much as where the sky and ocean blend is the horizon line, is not something concrete that you can ever reach. Probably my journey to my own freedom, maybe I'll never know. Or maybe I still need to go on and to go further. So let's say that in the era of our Pirates album, it's not a cliffhanger, but it's an open question. It's like, yeah, I'm chasing the land of the free. At the end of the story, I haven't found it. I found it sometimes, but will I found it completely, or will it always be something I have to chase? It's an open question.
But that's the interesting thing, and it goes into that question of free will and what life is really about, right? Because
Yeah.
I can imagine even it makes sense if we talk about it in a band context as well, with what is happening the last couple of years with Visions of Atlantis. It's also there's uncertainty in music, but there's also, and you have to take risks at times, but sometimes they pay off. So with that in mind, the last question, you say that it's no teaser for something, what happens after, but are there any thoughts on what kind of album you want to make after this Pirates too?
So it's so funny, and I love that. Like, Meek is an absolute genius, and he constantly has music coming to himself, and he has already started writing new songs because that's who he is. He channels, the divine through music, and he has to release it. And I saw on his computer desk the title of the folder that contains the new songs, and it's called Pirates 3.
Fair enough. All right, Clementine,
So
may I thank you so much. That's a teaser. That's enough of a teaser, I think. May I thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
you're very welcome. Thank you very much for your time.